I'm Gerard back with you, and today we got ourselves a nice little 63 Austin Healey Sprite to work on. Looks like a pretty decent car, a nice solid car in pale primrose. It's largely original and the owner wants to keep it that way. Doesn't want to do disc brakes, bigger engine, none of that stuff. He wants to keep it as original as he can, or at least as original as it was when he got it. Does have some minor things that are not original on it, but you know, it is what it is. But he originally was taking care of some oil leaks, had the engine out, and was resealing the engine, gaskets, all that stuff, put a new fuel pump on it, and he's never been able to get it to run right since. He says he keeps tweaking on the carburetors and keeps tweaking them on them, he keeps getting them better and better, but he just can't quite get it. So we're going to give it a shot and see how good we can get. So I'm going to go ahead and start it here so you can see how it's running right now, which right now it's actually running, he's had it running better than this, but he says, but show you what it's running like. Now he did say he put a head gasket on this thing while he was doing everything else, and he couldn't quite get the head to proper torque. Broke a couple nuts, and he said it's not quite fully torqued down. So we're going to start out checking the compression on it just to be sure what we got there. All right, so we're going to check compression here on number 1 cylinder. We got 0. Now we had 140, 140, and 120 on the rest, so since he did have the head off this thing, I am going to pull the valve cover gasket, or valve cover, make sure he doesn't just have the valves wildly misadjusted where they're so tight and holding the valves open or something. And if we don't see anything there, then we'll be doing a leak down test. So cranking it over real quick, all the valves are moving. So the next thing to do is check to see if the rockers have play in them and how much play they have. And rule of 9s, basically when this one's down, when 8's down, 1 should be fully closed and have play in it, and there's no play. So this valve could be hanging open. So we'll go through a valve adjustment real quick and then see what we got.
Go for it.
All right, so number 1 was way too tight, like hanging the valve open tight. Number 6 was really tight too, but not as bad. And the rest of them were anywhere from a little loose to really loose, like 60 thousandths, roughly 50 to 60 thousandths, where it should be 12. So now let's see what we got, if it changed anything at all. So there we go. It was hanging a valve open. So we got 130 now on that cylinder without holding the throttle open, which I know a lot of people say you got to have them open, but I was just looking for something to happen. So now we'll run another compression test down the whole thing and see what kind of numbers we got. So now the compression readings across the board are between 130 and 145. So that's actually pretty good. We can accept that. Should run a whole lot better now. But since he was telling me he was having trouble torquing the cylinder head, and the numbers he was giving me weren't even like right to the book, I might want to double check that real quick, just to see.
Yes.
All right, so before I go ahead and tear the carbs off of here and really go through them or doing messing around with them, he had already told me that he had jacked them around quite a bit just to get it to run well enough to get it over here. So we had one jet way down and one jet way up. So I went ahead and just set the jets to both 60 thousandths down and put oil in them because there was no oil in them, and just set the idle screws at about a half a turn up both sides as a base setting, and we'll see what we got. So that's a big improvement over what we started with. Now it's down really to fine tuning and deciding if I'm really going to go ahead and pull the carbs off and clean them or not.